There was once a family that dreamed of having a child, most especially a boy child. But oh, there were families that warned them about screaming nights and crying that made no sense. They would never survive the onslaught because of their delicate nerves. Better to be childless than to be sleep-deprived. But the couple would not listen. They wished for chubby little fingers grasping little blocks and plush animal toys. Their friends would say that they would grow broke, feeding an extra mouth. Boys even ate more than girls, and there was all that teething nonsense and drooling and chewing on the furniture like dogs. What for? Said the families. Later on, you would grow broke for providing braces and retainers. The animals will just find them, chew them up, and you will end up paying for them 3 times. But the couple would not listen. They wished for chubby little legs that would stumble all over the wooden floors, sounding like a joyous drum beat. Their families and friends would say that they were in for a rough ride as soon as the boys started arguing and whining for this thing or that. Even worse when the boy found his own spirit and began arguing with them, using the words of his friends to make his points. That surely will cause you to think the whole thing over. But the couple would not listen. Indeed, it was not long before they found out that they were with child. Through tests, they discovered that it was a boy, and they were thrilled. Unfortunately, the tests were necessary because the doctors suspected something was wrong. And the couple decided to have the baby boy in any case, regardless of the problem. The pregnancy went smoothly as any pregnancy. There were good days, and there were nauseous days, and the months and weeks went by in a flash. The birthday was finally here, and the couple anxiously awaited the baby boy. The birth was much easier than expected. In fact, it took less than a minute to work the shoulders through, and everything else slipped out effortlessly. The only problem for John, they had named the baby boy John. It was that, his head, the real problem was he had no head. Just smooth skin from shoulder to shoulder with just a little bump for a neck. They were a little concerned because Headless John, later that was their nickname for him, did not cry at birth. The doctors were somewhat surprised that he was breathing well and had great color, so they carefully wrapped the baby and gave them to the proud parents. Headless John was a wonderful baby. He slept through the night right away, and there were no late-night crying jags, no complaining or whines, and he stayed well within the growth charts, except that he was a little shorter, because he had no head. He didn't appear to have any eating allergies, and the couples experienced no colic whatsoever. As a little boy, they experienced no financial difficulties concerning his feeding. In fact, he ate very little because, he had no head. Headless John continued to grow and caused his parents great joy, with his chubby little fingers carrying plush toys and his chubby little legs drumming out a running tune as he sped through the house. His parents soon learned that he could run as fast as he wanted without getting hurt, because he had no head. As the baby boy grew into a little boy, they discovered a number of surprising truths. They were rarely late for t-ball practice because his baseball hat was never lost. The team was thrilled with Headless John because his hitting and catching prowess, and the fact that they were short on batting helmets. He didn't need a helmet because he had no head. As Headless John grew into a young teen, he had the best relationship with his parents. He listened very respectfully, and he rarely spoke a negative word. In fact, he didn't speak a word at all. And while he did have his own thoughts and opinions, he always followed the house rules and respected the guidelines set by his parents. Headless John was popular in school with many friends, including girls, but his parents were never worried that he would end up going beyond holding hands. All this time, the parents were steadfast in supporting Headless John, helping him with his homework, enrolling him in mime classes. He was even on the championship football team as the best running back in the state, saving the school money because they didn't have to buy a helmet. His parents knew all along that all they had to do was love and support him through school until he graduated. And then college would change everything. Because everyone knew if you wanted to get ahead in life, you had to go to college.